When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Man, I'm super excited to be talking to my friend and business partner, Jesse Zagorsky from San Diego, California today. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm amazing. What's going on, Andre?
Hey, thanks for joining me. Hey, our listeners, you guys are in for a treat. I met Jesse several months ago as part of our influencer Zoom weekly mastermind that we have, the top 1% of the agency EXP and a few of our corporate VPs, and we collaborate every week on what's going on in the company and what's and how to make it better. And Jesse is usually the host and running that. So I learned a little bit about you, and a little bit of your story from that. But today we're really going to dig into your background and your real estate business, and so I'm excited to share your story.
I'm excited too, man. And by the way, I really just want to say the name of the podcast, Financial Freedom Forever. Like every time I hear it, it's like Financial Freedom Forever. It just has such a good sound to it. I like it. So thanks for having me, man. I'm grateful to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background, your real estate background, personal background, whatever you want to share about your real estate business, and provide as much value to our listeners as possible.
Yeah, I'll keep the bio brief, but you need to understand a little context of where I'm coming from, just so to understand, some of my opinions and thoughts. But I've been in real estate for 18 years. Okay. I ran my own brokerage for 14 years of that time. My business partner, my entire career, has been my mom. So I'm a certified mama's boy. Right? I'm very grateful. I feel very blessed to have worked with my mom. I mean, most people don't have the ability to do that. We have an incredible relationship, and we loved running our own company. About 3.5, almost 4 years ago at this point, a good friend of mine sat me down and said, "Hey, you gotta look at this. You gotta look at this new business model." And actually, I said no for like 9 months. I didn't look at anything. And then one day I sat down, and actually looked at it, and that's all history now, right? 4 years later, I'm here at EXP. I love the company. I love what we're building. And my mind has always been around financial freedom. You'll probably dive into this, but I don't know if you know this about me, Andre, but I took a year off real estate back in 2013.
Okay.
Have we talked about that ever?
No, not at all.
Okay. So check this out. If you're listening, tell me if this resonates for you. 2009 to 2012, I sold a lot of REOs. I was deep into the foreclosure space. Come 2013, my wife, who is a therapist, at the time she was a social worker, she was finishing up her next hours after grad school and she's like, I think I'm ready for a break. And I'd worked really hard during the foreclosure years and selling a couple hundred homes a year. And I'm like, yeah, let's make a change. So before we had kids, we moved to Thailand, and we spent an entire year there, 2013, 2014. But this is the cool part. Ready? See this cell phone? I did not carry this phone for an entire year.
Wow.
I still sold houses in San Diego. I worked maybe 1 to 2 hours a week total. That's it. Still sold houses. I came back with more money than I left with. And so if I'm on a Financial Freedom Forever podcast, the story makes sense, because that's when I've always been obsessed with leverage, and I can kind of break down what I was able to do while in Thailand and how I sold houses working an hour or 2 a week, because that's the leverage piece. So I've always been obsessed with leverage. And then on the other side of it, I've just always that feeling of financial freedom. Like, let's do this thought experiment. Ready, Andre? How far back? So I'm talking before EXP now. How far back in your life do you have to go to remember a time when you weren't worried, stressed, or concerned with money?
How far back
in your life?
Like, not very far. I mean, only since really being an EXP for the last 3.5 years. In the last year, things have really changed with the passive passive income revenue share that I haven't been stressed about money.
Right. So what about before that though? I'm talking about before you found EXP.
Oh.
In your adult life, how far back do you have to go? When was the last time you weren't stressed about money before EXP? Were you in your 30s, your 20s? Were you 10? Were you 5? How far back do you have to go?
I'd probably say in my teenage years.
In your teenage years. And that's pretty common for most US adults. And frankly, some people by teenage years are even pretty aware and stressed about money, depending on their home situation, depending on their family, their upbringing. So what I found when I was in my 30s and I moved to Thailand, do you know how much money my wife and I spent per month for the two of us to live an amazing lifestyle? Let me describe our life and then you guess how much it cost. Okay. We lived in the high-rise building in Chiang Mai, the north of Thailand. It had a beautiful view of the mountains, 2-bedroom, modern, new apartment, right? A new condo. We ate almost every meal out. We got 2-hour massages, probably 5 days a week. It was an incredible life, right? We did whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. What do you think the cost of that life was in Thailand?
I have no idea what Thailand cost would be.
It's super cheap. It's super cheap. I'll tell you that.
Oh, what? $3,000 a month?
$1,500 a month.
Wow.
Okay. When we traveled, it was about $3,000 a month because we traveled all over Southeast Asia. But because I was selling houses in San Diego and I had another business that was kind of a networking group for foreclosure brokers, which generates some passive income. Plus I own some investment properties. I had more than enough money coming in to cover my $1,500, and then some.
Yeah.
So I felt a sense of financial freedom that most people in America have not felt since they were children. And I came back from that year in Thailand and we had our first baby. By we, I mean my wife had the baby, but right together, I became a father. I bought a house. I started my sales team back up because my sales team was running while I was gone, but it was just kind of like a shell. I had about 4 agents while I was out of the country. I ramped it back up to 21 agents. So I had my first child, bought a house, ramped my sales team up to 21 agents. I went from 0 responsibility for an entire year to the most responsibility of my entire life. And I got really depressed.
Yeah, you probably want to go back to Thailand.
I still want to go back to Thailand sometimes, but at the time of the moment, it was like, holy smokes. It was dark and I was trying to figure out how do I get back there. And so that's when I became obsessed when I realized what it was about Thailand. I love Thai food. I love Thai people. It was a great experience, but it was the lack of anxiety, fear, or stress about money. That was the biggest difference to that year I had. And so what I started was a path where I was looking for, how do I get back to that feeling? How do I generate enough income that I feel secure, right? And for some people, it's a mindset. Some people have plenty of money and they're still going to be worried. And that wasn't for me. Truly, it's a math equation. You spend a certain amount of money, you need a certain amount of money. And once you get well above that threshold, the anxiety goes away. I can tell you because I've lived it twice now. I lived it in Thailand when my expenses were really low. And now I'm living it with EXP because my income's really high.
Right.
So for me, the two pieces, if you want to unpack these, next few minutes, the leverage piece it took to run a team while I was in Thailand without working, that we could dive in there. Yeah. Or we're just talking about the sense of financial freedom and what it does for you from a mindset standpoint when you can actually develop. It doesn't matter what the income stream is. I can see how we have the EXP branding all around us here. It doesn't have to be EXP. There could be any number of ways you could develop strategies to make income in a leveraged way, in a residual way. Right. They all end up with the same goal. I just found this one and I love it.
Yeah, let's dive into both of those if we have time.
Yeah, we got time. I got time for both. I can tailor this wherever you want to go, man. And can I just say for anyone watching, Andre is someone, I hope obviously you know who he is or else you wouldn't be listening to his podcast, but you are someone that I have looked up to since joining EXP. You are the most steady, consistent, and you have such a good heart. So I just want to say thank you for being who you are and doing what you do.
I appreciate that, Jesse. That means a lot.
It truly, I don't know how, I'm sure people know your story, but we won't go. All right, we won't go into that. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. So can we talk about the 3 ways to leverage? Is that a useful topic to do?
Yeah, that'd be great for our listeners. Yes.
Okay. So write this down. Unless you are driving, in which case pull your car over, or if you're on the treadmill, you can stop for a second. I want you to write down, there's 3 ways to leverage. Okay. This is for any area of your real estate business, frankly, anywhere in life, but specifically real estate. And I'm 43 years old. Andre, how old are you?
53.
Cool. So you're probably in the right age group. You might recognize this acronym. I have an acronym that I use to remember this because there's only 3 ways to leverage. And the acronym has to do with a 90s rock band. Do you know the rock band Stone Temple Pilots?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm out of the demographic. Anyway, anyone watching, you now know I grew up, you can see the guitar behind me. Like I grew up playing in bands. That was I wanted to be a rock star. Didn't work. Worked at MTV. So Stone Temple Pilots, STP. That's the acronym, STP. Okay. I'll break down what all three of them are, but I want to define leverage. My definition of leverage is being able to do more with less.
Okay.
Jay Kinder, I know you're deeply connected to Jay. Jay's got one of my favorite definitions with Jay describes himself as being a minimally effective dose sort of guy. You ever hear him say that?
Yeah.
And I got another business partner named David Golden, who's was my business partner on the foreclosure business for 9 years. I describe him lovingly as strategically efficient. Do you know what strategically efficient means?
Not specifically.
Lazy, super lazy. He doesn't want to do anything. He wants to do it's the same thing Jay is describing. He wants to do as little as possible to get the biggest possible return.
Sure.
And so anyone listening, the way you're going to know if you need leverage in your life, if you feel like, man, I wish there were more hours in the day. If you've ever had that feeling, I wish there were more hours in the day, that is a red flag. That means you need leverage.
Right.
Okay. So here's what STP stands for. Ready? Write this down, guys. S stands for systems.
Right.
Systems. T stands for technology.
Okay.
And P stands for people.
Right.
People. Systems, technology, people. So we're gonna break them down. What's your guess, Andre? When I say systems, because I know you are an old school Craig Proctor guy, which is who I learned most of my real estate systems from in 2004, and nothing has changed in real estate psychology since then, so they still work. What do you think about when I say the word systems?
Lead generation systems, contact management systems, follow-up systems, training systems.
Correct on all accounts. So this is my definition of a system. A system is a repeated way to do the same thing. Right. Write this down, guys. Duplicatable systems bring duplicatable results. Duplicatable systems bring duplicatable results. So you never sold houses, Andre, did you? You were always on the inside sales part, right?
Oh no, I sold houses. My partner and I were selling about 300 units a year in New York for a long time.
Holy smokes. All right. So because we could use systems in the ISA role, that right inside sales, we could use systems in the selling role, but let's take listings, because that's always a really good example. Most people who list houses have systems, whether they know it or not. Right. Every time you list a house, when you were back in the day selling 300 homes a year, did you do roughly the same thing every time you took a listing?
Oh yeah, same listing presentation. I mean, it changed up a little bit depending on the client, but most of it.
I'm talking about the actual mechanics of getting the house. You put it in the MLS or whatever you used in New York at the time. You put a lockbox on. You did the marketing. The marketing is roughly the same. Like you did the same steps every time. That's a system.
Right.
Right. If you're a brand new agent listening to this, or you've never sold a house and you get a listing and you're like, I don't know. What do I do? And like, imagine if you sold 20 homes a year and every time you took a listing, you ran around like a chicken with your head cut off. Right. Your life would be a dumpster fire and it wouldn't work. So that's why you have systems. You might not think of yourself as a systems person, but anything you do in a repeated way is a system. Super easy. Okay. Second one is technology. We are using a platform called StreamYard.
Right.
You are in what city right now?
Venice, Florida today.
Venice, Florida. I'm in San Diego, California. We are nowhere near each other, but with the magic of technology, we have leveraged about 6 hours of plane flights for one of us, right?
Right.
Or maybe 3 hours for each of us. We met in the middle, plus a few hours of setup and drive time, whatever. We've probably leveraged a couple days to have a face-to-face meeting. And through the magic of the internet, we are leveraging countless hours for anyone watching this who gets to watch it recorded or streamed live, right? So this is the technology leverage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
CRMs are technology leverage, right? The external brain. Do you know that book, Getting Things Done by David Allen?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the best concepts is the external brain, where you can leverage a CRM to do your thinking for you. That's technology leverage. And then the last one is pretty darn obvious.
Yeah.
It's people. So ready? Question time, Andre. I've worked with a lot of agents. You've worked with a lot of agents. And this doesn't matter whether you're talking about selling houses, recruitment, whatever it is, it's all the same. If you had one of those three areas where you could make your life better, right? Do more with less: systems, technology, or people. Where do you think 95% of our agent population is lacking leverage? What's your guess?
Probably people.
100%. Well, let's give it 95% of the time. If someone is truly a brand new agent, they might be missing systems or they might be missing technology. But other than that, the answer, if you ask an agent, which one do they need? They will almost always tell you systems or technology. They never say people first. They always say systems or technology. And then I say, okay, let's say I gave you, because someone listening, maybe you had that thought yourself, like, I need systems. Cool. Think about this. If your life is busy right now, you're already at that point of like, you wish you had more hours in the day. And I give you one more system or one more piece of technology. All I'm doing is adding fuel to the chaos inside your head.
Right.
It's one more piece of like, oh, another system I can't do. It's not going to move the needle. People are the thing that moves the needle. People is the thing that anyone listening to this, I guarantee you, the thing you are missing is people leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to surround yourself with really good people. And I know when you got like with our group and our Honey Badger group and our EXP group, I mean, the amount of people in our beta group, you surround yourself with people doing, 5, 10 times more than me and you put together. It really makes a huge difference when we can all collaborate. So it's been a game changer for sure.
And think about the EXP model itself, right? Think about generating from a residual income standpoint. If your goal is financial freedom, it's what I love about the model. The entire model is all about collaboration and leverage to people. Not taking advantage, right? It is compensation for contribution, but like anything you're going to look for, whatever vehicle it is. And again, this is not a sales pitch for EXP, whatever you're going into, if it's investment properties, Airbnbs, short-term rental flips, whatever it is, you want to make sure there's some leverage. And I just met a kid on a plane. I got time. Can I tell you a quick story about this kid I met?
Sure.
Kid was coming back from a Bigger Pockets conference. And I say kid because he was like 20 years younger than me. He's like 25, I'm 43. And he was coming up. I mean, he's got a crazy story. You'll probably see him on a podcast at some point, but he was living in his van 4 years ago. I'm not talking Sprinter van. I'm talking like family van passed down for 15 years. Yeah. He was living in his van. Okay. He had a decent job. He just wanted to downsize his expenses. And he just was that sort of guy. And he moved into his van and he would go and he bought his first investment. He saved that money to buy his first investment property. And he did a house hack where he lived in one side while he was fixing it up, turned it into a short-term rental, Airbnb. Anyway, in a short 3.5 years, just while you and I have been building the EXP, he's been acquiring Airbnb units. And I believe he's up to about 16 right now. 16 houses. With 3.5 years ago, he was living in a van. He now has 16 short-term rental houses or 16 short-term rental units that he owns, and he's making good money.
That's good leverage.
But check this out. It's not good leverage because now he's managing 16 properties and he's doing it all himself and he's going crazy. And so he's never been an entrepreneur. He's always had a job. And so I was talking to him. I met him on a plane and I'm talking to him and he wouldn't mind me sharing the story because he blogs about it, his podcasts about it. So, but he was talking about how it's like, it's good leverage compared to his job. He now makes as much money where he probably could quit his job. He's about at that transition point, but he has no time freedom. Because when anything breaks in any of these 16 units, he hasn't built in a manager to the formula because he likes the cash flow. And so I'm like, dude, at 16 doors, you have enough doors to go hire a person, maybe part-time, maybe you share them with one of your other investor friends who has another 20, 30 units, you share them together. But once you take that piece off your plate, the amount of income you're making, if you calculate your dollars per hour, the functions you are doing are at a significantly lower pay scale than what you want to be earning and what you're actually earning. So get rid of them. And it was like, light bulb.
Yeah, game changer is all about more people, getting the right people.
Leverage the people. All right. Yeah. We got what, like 5 minutes? What do you have any questions? I know I just kind of took over, but like I just had stuff I wanted to share once I knew what the podcast was about. Any questions you want to ask or directions you want me to go?
Yeah, well, you said that you were with what company were you with before? Then you had your own independent company for what you said 14 years, I think.
I did.
With your mom.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't look at EXP for 9 months. Share that story a little bit. Why didn't you take a look at it? Because I'm sure there's people watching this or will watch this that are in the same time frame. They're comfortable. They're happy where they're at. What did that transition look like?
So I wasn't comfortable and I wasn't happy, but I was busy. There's a big distinction. I had pain in my life. Remember, I just got back from Thailand. I was stressed. I was busy, but I didn't have enough pain to look at something different because I was so deep in what I was already doing. Anything else that I was going to look at, I didn't know what EXP was. It didn't matter what it was. Anything else I would look at was just adding more chaos to my already chaotic life. Right. Does that make sense? I didn't see it as a solution. It wasn't like, oh, this is going to solve my problems. And frankly, I didn't even take enough time to sit down and look at it. So I started my career at Remax. My mom and I were at Remax years ago. We ran our own company for 14 years, an independent called Live Love San Diego Homes. And then in the middle, I went to Sotheby's briefly. So I did have some experience there. But when I was running my independent company, I had 14 agents. No, I might have already been up to 21 agents at the time. I know when I first started looking at EXP, when someone first approached me about EXP, I had 14 agents on my team. My entire brokerage was about 25 agents, I think. And then over the course of the 9 months that I didn't look at EXP, but my friend kept coming back to me, I scaled my team from 14 to 21 agents.
Okay.
The money didn't get better. The headaches got worse. It only got more stressful. I was trying to solve, you know what the expression, when you're in a hole, stop digging?
Yeah.
I was in a hole and I didn't stop digging. I'm like, I'm gonna recruit more agents. I'm gonna see it. And it wasn't, the agents weren't bad people. It just wasn't the right time with the right people, the right structure. Like we made some money some months, we didn't make money. We had 21 agents, you're bound to make some money. But then other months they sold very few houses and I lost money as a team. I had a lot of expenses, a lot of lead costs. I didn't like running a team. There's nothing, anyone listening, if you run a team, I'm grateful you do. I'm glad people like doing it. It was just not how I was wired. I did it for years and years. I had a coach. I co-wrote a book called The World-Class Buyer Agent on I used to coach people on how to do teams. I know how to run a team. I just didn't like doing it myself. Okay. So if the person who was talking to me about EXP would have sat me down and been like, Jesse, I need you to look at this and I'm going to break it down with you, I probably would have been in EXP 9 months earlier. All they did was send me a link to a video and I was so busy, I would shut it off in 3 minutes. I shut it off in 6 minutes. Like Gene Frederick, who's now become a friend. I remember watching a video of him and he was like, it's the Netflix, the Blockbuster, Netflix, the Blockbuster. And I was like, I don't get this guy. Shut up. This guy's stupid. And it's funny now because I love that video and I love Gene, but it didn't connect with me because it wasn't put in the right context. When I finally myself came to him and said, all right, I'm ready to listen. It took about 7 minutes for him to break it down for me. And I don't curse much. And I know you're a good Christian, so I'm not going to curse on your podcast, but I dropped an F-bomb when I actually looked at it.
So
do you know why I dropped an F-bomb?
Probably because you wish you would have looked at it 9 months ago.
No, I didn't even get that at that point. I didn't even know. That was later. That was about a week later when I realized I should have looked 9 months ago. I dropped an F-bomb because I was mad. I was mad that I had to shut down my company, that I had to turn my life upside down, that I was going to add short-term more chaos and more, because I knew it was going to take some effort. It wasn't a lot of effort, but I knew I was already at my stress threshold, but I knew this was the solution to everything that was bothering me. Every single thing that has ever been broken in the real estate brokerage industry, EXP fixed it. They leveled the playing field. They gave so much power to every single agent. It wasn't just for me. It was for every agent at my company. I saw opportunity that I could never offer to them as an independent. And so I could not bring my agents there once I saw it.
What were, just real quick, that made a change for your agents? So what you just mentioned about the opportunities, what do they have now that they didn't have before in your own independent?
So all 21 came over with me. I didn't lose a single agent. And by the way, they were on no split for the brokerage with me. They only had a sales team split, and I added on an additional EXP split, and I still didn't lose a single agent.
Wow.
Okay. They're not all with me today because some of them shouldn't have been in the business period, but that's a separate story. Right. But everyone came over with me and they got access to health insurance. I myself save $1,000 a month for better healthcare coverage. My team got health insurance. They got stock ownership of the company. They got the ability to generate revenue share. They got additional 80 hours a week of training. They got so much extra support. They love me, or most of them did. Some of them didn't, but most of them loved me. But I wasn't always enough. It was me plus all these other things they got. It truly is. It's for any team leader watching this. If you truly are curious, don't commit yourself to doing anything. Don't switch. Don't do anything. Just be open to being curious to see what it's like. And once you really see, if you see what I see, the opportunity for your team, it becomes irresponsible as a team leader to not bring this opportunity to your people. Because if you care about your people, you want them to have the best. And that was what it was for me. And this was the best I could find. This blows anything else I'd ever seen out of the water.
I know you got to go because you got a meeting here in 3 minutes. So one last question. We'll sign off. You had about 24 agents when you moved over to EXP. Everyone came with you. What does your team look like now? And what is your business look like today?
Take a guess what my team looks like.
Well, I know being in the Alpha group that you're in, you have over 1,000 in your network. So I know
Right. My team has changed. My team, I don't call it a team. I have an organization. We call it our, and let's use organization is the best term. It's like a family, right? I have 1,100 agents that I make money like I'm the broker, but they get their full split, right? EXP compensates me because I referred them to the company, but my actual sales team, I shut it down, dude. I didn't like, I'll still sell 20 million this year by referral. I work 1 to 2 hours a week. I got a director of operations. Her name is Autumn. She is amazing. My business partner is my mom. Between my mom, Autumn, and me, we'll sell 20 million with it, and I work maybe an hour a week on it, maybe 2 hours tops, right? Because I got leverage and systems, and I've done it long enough that referrals fall in my lap. So I'm not going to stop selling houses, but I don't want to herd cats and run it. That wasn't for me. I have a lot of team leaders in our organization that we do masterminds and daily calls and support, just like everyone at EXP. Like there's so much to plug into. So for those that are wired to run a team, we got lots of resources for you. Me personally, I just didn't want to run a team. And now I run a much bigger team and I support 1,100 agents, but I also do that working. Check this out. Monday through Thursday, I work no nights, no weekends. I take every Friday off, and I make a lot more money now than I ever used to running a team. So I get to do what I love, make an even bigger impact. And I don't take calls from my team agents at 10, 11 o'clock at night going like, how do you write a contract? That's not what they sound like, but you know the idea.
Hey, I appreciate you, Jesse, jumping on our Financial Freedom Forever podcast today. I know there's a lot more that we can jump into, but we'll get you on another one in the future. And I really appreciate you. I'll see you at the next conference.
Sounds good. Have a good one, Andre. I appreciate being here.
All right, buddy. Take care. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
Plenty of leaders out there, and this is the kind of group, the Financial Freedom Group, is you're not serving Andre, Andre's serving you, okay? Here's what I mean with this, perfect example. So I sent out these 50 emails referencing Andre, and I thought, as a courtesy, I'm going to copy Andre on this, so he sees what I'm sending out, right? Just professional courtesy. This was on a Saturday. Sunday morning, before I get up, everybody's getting ready for church and everything, I look, and Andre, on his own, of his own volition, personally reached out to all 50 of those people, individual email, on his own. Well, I didn't ask for it. He did it on his own. That's the kind of support I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership that I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership you deserve, everybody deserves, everybody should ask for and expect in any company. We have it in the Financial Freedom Group. So thank you, Andre.
To get your questions answered and learn more about why people are joining EXP by 1,000 people a week and partnering up with us, please go to partnerwithandre.com or click the link below, check out the videos, and let's have a private conversation.